And like priority check, right? What do we care about? And I know they're 19th in stopping the run, but they're playing a physical brand of football, especially against obviously the Raiders. And listen, we preview one game in advance, right? If I could show you another game where it's air raid, maybe they're playing a little bit differently. But they have Devontae Adams on this team. They're going to double him all day, right? And maybe that's the deal in certain situations for a guy like Christian Watson, take the top off of the defense. Okay. I don't think it's Jaden Reed yet, but it might be Christian Watson. So we might have some bracket looks where everybody else is singled up, but they are going to prioritize, especially if you get into 12 or 21 personnel. They're going to prioritize stopping that run, and they're playing a physical brand of football. Aiden O'Connell playing quarterback here. Obviously, I think the stakes are a little bit different, or the dynamics a little bit different than it would be with Jordan Love and the Packers, but you have to appreciate they're all in right here. You see attacking play. Good run for the Raiders. You can still get these doubles. You can still get downhill movement. You want to look at 22 here. And the reason I'm showing is he starts outside the tight end all the way around, gets in on the play, and they show up fast. So their safeties, I'll go back. Their safeties, if they're playing base 7, if they're either sitting in the box and they're going to play 8, or if they're off the line of scrimmage and they're the ones that they're supposed to fill the gap, like right now he's got C gap. If they're going to fill that gap, then he's going to get down there fast. Like they're biting. They'll sell hard on undercenter play action pass. Like they're biting hard on stuff. They want to stop the run game. That is the number one priority. You want to get him. So this is base defense, and what they've done is they got down to jam. They put Karlaftis over in a 4-eye over the right tackle, and then 54 is out. He's a linebacker. He's out playing. So it looks like they're in a bear front, or it looks like they're in a jam, or even you could really just call this, I guess, you could call this an old school under with a FUP look, with a 4-eye technique instead of a 5. So you got to have man beaters. You see the outside leverage on the bottom of the screen, and they're so interested in what's going on up top that Devontae runs all the way across the field. Outside leverage. Go back to the beginning just so you guys can see it again. You got outside leverage. They play that second safety off the line of scrimmage. You see him coming down, indicating man. He knows immediately. The quarterback knows immediately. He's just got to bide his time because a leverage player is always going to lose to the opposite side of the field. These plays are open. You can imagine Christian Watson making that play. Now you see the safety here is just checking Devontae, right? So where you have essentially a double team on the down side of the field. He's rolling over there. And so on the top, you're going to have opportunities for one-on-one matchups, and you just have to be able to deliver and make plays. The Raiders did make a lot of plays in this game. Obviously, it wasn't enough. But some of the receivers did show up and made plays on one-on-one situations. And we talk about the pass-off. And this happens on every defense, but you can see that these guys line up and start at the top of the screen. Let me get rid of this. There we go. Let's get rid of that. On the top of the screen, we got man. And then they just roll the corner over to the tight end. And the safety comes down. So you can find your way to get matchups. You want Jaden Reed on a safety? Easy way to figure it out. So the Packers have these different tools they can use. And my point is, it's shown on tape. They have different tools they can use to free people up and get the matchups that they want. Now, the big man, all of these guys really, but he does a really good job of turning a double into a single. And you see, you always just try to shoot gaps. And so now this guard tries to get off on 23, but he's really not under control because he kind of whiffed on Chris Jones, right? So 23 just sheds him and makes the block. And this is something that just having players that like to penetrate, like to get skinny, that really kind of screws up the timing of the guard and tackle. Guard's got to stay there. He should, stay and keep body presence. But really, Chris Jones is so good at getting skinny and behind him. He's a 6'5", 320-pound player. So he really gains ground with that first step. and it leaves your guards a little bit out of control. And then, 23, all these players for the Kansas City Chiefs inside are good at stack and shedding. So they get downhill and they get into that gap really fast. Now, this is the big thing we talked about really as the development of Jordan Love and these young wide receivers and tight ends. You have to be able to not only ID the pressure, but then communicate verbally and non-verbally and being able to execute when you see pressure. So you see this look here. You see that safety stacked over the slot nickel. Like, this is an indicator. Okay. So what are we going to do with it now? Does everybody on the same page? What are the hot routes? Do we feel better about a matchup on the outside now? You see that they screwed up and switched this. They got eyes out to the top of the screen with the safety. This is really a run for the love of the game route that I've circled in red, but wide open player. Okay. Because they've just decided the priority is the flat. And you can see that on the top of the 20, on the top of the numbers at the 20, that corner is in no man's land, right? So that the in cut, 16's in cut is going to be hit by that linebacker if they throw it. But they're just completely out of position here. And a lot of it has to do with, obviously, eyes to Devontae. See more pressure looks. Again, that safety, they do a decent job of hiding this, but you watch enough tape, you start figuring out, like, okay, they're going to play that safety 12 yards deep. They're going to walk him over the top late, and then that nickel slot is going to come off the edge, and you just have to be ready for it. But they're in man coverage here. I mean, if you give me a 12-yard head start and I can run an out route, I feel like our guys are going to get open more often than not. Now, he throws it to the in here. He throws it to the slant. I'll go back and show you guys here this. He ends up throwing the slant, but if you look at the slot here, the slot receiver, I mean, we got all you want right there as far as the throw. Okay, so and this is part of the development of Jordan Love. Don't take the slant if the out's open and you get 10 extra yards. There's good routes, and then there's good routes with bad coverage. And if you got a 12-yard head start and leverage on your out route, you take it. I think we got one more pressure look here. So they're bunch formation, and they go pressure and rotate that safety over quick. And they did a great job of ID in this. And these are the opportunities if Jordan Love and he did a great job in the Detroit game of throwing one of these out there early. Is you got the blocks, and now you're one-on-one with the safety coming downhill inside out. This is Hunter Renfrow, and easy 10-yard gain. I mean, that's an easy throw and catch. Now that you got to hit the guy in the chest. You can't lead him backwards. But easy throw and catch, easy block, right? And now you're one-on-one with the safety who's coming from a bad angle. Okay, so that's a 10-yard gain. These are the things that these are the gimmies that we just talked about. And then you just have to ask the question, with a team that does a good job of disguising pressure, and a team that likes pressure, when does motion help you and when does it hurt? This is a running play. And you see Eric Reed comes down, and he's coming down because of this motion, but wait a second. And he fires his gun. We're out of position. And because that receiver's going in motion, tracking back's an issue. And listen, Jones ends up breaking this tackle, but that's a tackle for loss in the backfield. The guy made a mistake. Okay, and so what you have to ask yourself is, are we going to motion across the ball in like inside zone run situations where it gives the safeties or the nickel slot the opportunity to come off the edge, and the receiver isn't in a position to make a block, and the quarterback doesn't see it until the last minute where you're already in the middle of the cadence? Okay, so you have to be real strategic about how you go about your business with these motions. It's not motion for the sake of motion. It's got to be motion to either get eyes somewhere you don't want, one, or two, get the matchup you do want, as we showed with the safety rocking over instead of the corner following on man. These guys need a new play here, right? We come across, go back across, and they run the ball. Nobody covered Hunter Renfrow. I mean, I'll show you again because I had to watch this twice. That's Hunter Renfrow going in motion. Okay, they point at him. Okay, they go back. And the safety, or the safety of the linebacker was initially following him, but just from a leverage standpoint, this is all you can eat. So you see this play. I hope you see this on tape and you go, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to run the X on the slant or the go, and we're just going to run him into the arrow in the flat, and he's going to have a 20-yard run. He's going to have a 20-yard catch and run. Bad matchup 51 here on the tight end. This is Michael Mayer. This is the kid that played for Notre Dame, rookie. You see the two-hand stab, does a really good job here. Watch 22's play speed across the ball. This is kind of I'm talking about. He's a playmaker. So first of all, you see Panic really jacking 87 into the chest, getting back in the backfield. And then 22 is already all the way over, and he has outside leverage. He went from outside the tight end on the right all the way to outside leverage on the running back on the left. Guy is an incredible playmaker in the box around the line of scrimmage. We see the arrow down looking at Devontae. They're going to look at that double again. They're worried about that double. And again, you start thinking, okay, is this a team that is going to pick a player a la Christian Watson in the red zone to really take away from the offense? And then what opportunities is that going to give you on the other side? Because you see right here, and they just run a replacement route here. So they run an up and replace underneath. And this is wide open. And it's just because they know this safety is occupied and is not going to come down and crack this guy in the face mask and get fined and get kicked out of the National Football League for 6 games. But those plays are there as soon as you indicate, hey, listen, they're trying to bracket coverage over here. Let's take advantage of the middle of the field. Run game, these guys are absolutely committed to stopping that run. Physical style of football. Willie Gay going down here. Drew Tranquill coming down here. Downhill in the gaps right now. Trying to free up their defensive lineman. Downhill, leveraged. Chris Jones ends up making the play because he gets single blocked. Because of the job that 50 Willie Gay did coming downhill. Now, similar situation in that we've created this really just an over defense with the safety on the line of scrimmage. And because of that, because of the penetration, because they've got singled up blocks here, show it one more time. So you really have 4-on-4, and that center's got to get up to 23 with the nose tackle on a pull play. So they're going to pin and pull the guard, and you're just asking a lot out of that center to get through, right? So schematically, they've got you beat. If you're trying to do that, they got you beat. What you have to do is you have to pull the center. But those are the adjustments in the game, either before the game. Hey, listen, we're going to try to get you through. We run it once, doesn't work. We got it next time. We got to pull the guard and the center. Simple, okay? Or you change, or you scrap the blocking scheme. But when you watch plays like that, you have to understand the design is there so that center can't get through. So you've got to play the numbers here. And what I mean by that is you see that safety's lurking about 8 yards deep. He's going to fill real fast. You have to add him into your count. That's the one thing that most teams these days that we did 20 years ago, that was part of our count immediately. That was a FUP call, sub call. You'd make some sort of point call that would change the way everybody was going. They don't account for this safety when the reality is you see 50 pointing to the spot, he's downhill immediately in the hole. And the guy can just make plays. Whether that's Reed, whether that's McDuffie, those guys can just make plays, flat out make plays. You see here, I see the arrow in the top left corner, talking about Reed again, and they play on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage. You see the corner attacks and gets the running back to turn on the 18-yard line before the line of scrimmage, and Reed's making this play. So this is a no-gainer. Right? They play close to the line of scrimmage. They really are. They do a really nice job with it. Now, you want to see big plays? Now, if you're not committed, because 22 McDuffie, he's got tight end and man coverage. So he's not going to run up and make the play. He doesn't want to get slipped on a tight end pop pass. So everybody's up, and now he comes off late, and we're out the gate for a touchdown. This is a hell of a run by old number 8. For the Raiders. But you watch this from end zone angle, and just very simply, they have a chance to put 2 shoulder pads on 97 because McDuffie, unlike 54 and 23, is not attacking the line of scrimmage. And it's really, you guys, it's like, well, if we draw it up this way, the game is really this easy. Because 87 had the opportunity to throw a same foot, same shoulder strike into 97's hip and get him across the tackle's face, because that happened, because 22 doesn't come downhill because he can't, because that's a soft spot in the defense, now you can attack this thing. And every once in a while, you break an arm tackle or finger tackle right there, and you're out the gate. And that's literally all the game is. Where can I find that matchup? Play action screen game. You have to account for the linebacker. You see under center, they have their backs turned. They bite hard. And because they bite hard, when it's time to get out of there, they get out of there. This is going to be open and available during this game. Got to get a little more out of that wide receiver blocking. And then you just got to see the easy ones. Right here. Linebacker makes a mistake. Arrow routes over to the top of the screen on the 30-yard line. Take what you got. It's simple. Just take it. Easy, easy plays. They're running old school pressure here. They're showing one side and they're dropping the other. So they got all these guys up, and now you see at the bottom of the screen, 23 is slowly getting out of there. He's taking the tight end. They're all running stick routes. And you just have available options here. You just got to get the ball out. But that's old school pressure. Bring one side, you're dropping linebacker or safety all the way from the line of scrimmage, all the way to the inside slot. So you got to be able to identify it, be ready for the ball, make the throw. Name of the game, you got to stay on the 6 this week. And the last thing here, I don't want to talk too much about Chris Jones, but he's really damn good. See what he does this center on short yardage play. It's one of the last plays of the game. And just bye. Plays over. So guys have a ton of talent. They play hard. They believe in what they're doing.